enormous problems for the fiscal of the state once those waivers are done. And I think unfortunately it inhibits investment down the line. Now, to the question of whether there are fiscal transfers needed for farmers and whether they need, that is certainly an issue that needs to be debated, but also investment is needed in agriculture. And you can see the set of policies that we recommend is about how to make agriculture itself a vibrant industry as opposed to an industry which needs to be propped up through transfers. And I think our farmers deserve no less, that we need to create the environment in which they can be a vibrant force. And I would say more resources are definitely needed. Whether loan waivers are the best, I think is highly questionable. To some extent, we are a federation of states. And there are areas like the European Union which has thought about how do you create the right incentives for each country. And we may want to look at that and think about how we create incentives for each of the states. For example, we're thinking of blue and red bonds on the last point that Abhijit made. And I think the other point is that clearly today we see the political system as having a limited set of options. And that is why we have, as others have said, the loan waiver and MSP raise as the only way to signal that you're pro-agriculture. And obviously, those are the easiest in the short run and maybe the only instrument you think you have before a coming election, because everything else takes too long. However, what we are advocating is, again, back to the earlier question of long-term, short-term, that such short-term views essentially totally inhibit your ability to take the longer-term view once you are in power. And as a result, constrain your options tremendously. And so what we're suggesting is perhaps taking the longer-term view. And of course, there has to be a kind of, as Abhi said, agreement, not just between states, but sometimes also between political parties. Now, how likely is that? Well, probably not. But these are certain, issues that we will stay away from as a collective, or if the political parties won't agree, maybe our institutions should enforce them a little more strongly, which goes back to the issue of operational independence for our institutions like the Election Commission, like the RBI. But again, I would urge you all to read the reports, to read the detailed notes, and of course, how do we take this forward? Well, clearly we hope that we can start a debate on some of these issues. It's obviously already an ongoing debate. We hope we will inform that, and we hope that different entities, whether parties or think tanks, etc., will feel free to approach anybody in this group. Again, emphasizing none of us is politically affiliated, but we're happy to offer a voice on these issues.